Thank you, Corinne. Thank you, Admiral. What are the risks associated with an airdrop like this?
Well, my goodness. First of all, the biggest risk is making sure that nobody gets hurt on the ground. And so you got to locate out areas to drop that you know will be safe for people so that they don't become victims of the drop itself. I mean, when you're dropping out of an airplane, again, it depends on what you're dropping. In this case, the first deliveries will be food. Most likely the MREs, the portable food that the military uses. And so you want to be able to get it, again, in a place that's safe, from nobody's getting hurt on the ground. And then you want to make sure that it's in a location that is also accessible to aid organizations to help distribute that food, so that you want to see it as best you can, and it may not be possible in Gaza, but as best you can, a presence on the ground to help with the distribution, so that the drop itself doesn't become a scene or a site of insecurity and instability, of people rushing it and getting hurt and trying to get to it. And then lastly, the big challenge is making sure that it's physically in a geographic location that is close to people that are most in need. So there's an awful lot that goes into that. And of course then, there's the whole air component of that, the weather and the winds and the need for the pilots and the aircraft to be safe as well. I mean, this is not, this isn't like an area of a humanitarian disaster such as an earthquake or a hurricane site. This is a war zone. So there's an added element of potential danger to the pilots and the aircraft, and we have to factor that all into.
Can you talk about the timing of the airdrops and why the U.S. hasn't considered or hasn't done one before now, given that this need for aid is not new?
We've been working on the idea for airdrops here for a little while. The idea of thinking about through whether we need to do this. But again, it's not the kind of thing you want to just do in a heartbeat. You want to think this. You want to think it through carefully, and we've been doing that. But certainly, the need is much more acute here in recent weeks. And again, we want to answer that. We had tried, and we still are trying, to get the ground movement increased. And that's another reason why we're working so hard on this hostage deal, because it will give us some breathing space to increase that level of stuff on the ground. But obviously, it just hasn't. We haven't been able to meet the need. For all the work we've done to open up Kerem Shalom and work with the Israelis to increase the level, it's not meeting the need, and we recognize that.
Thank you.
How sustainable of an option does the president see these airdrops as being? And also, was there any communication between the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu before this announcement today?
I don't have any conversations with the Prime Minister to speak to. We obviously have been talking to our Israeli counterparts about this. This is not going to come as a surprise to them that we're considering doing this. In fact, they did one themselves a week or so ago, and certainly we were mindful of that. They kept us informed. So no surprise to the Israelis that we're doing this. As for sustainability, we'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. What I can tell you is that, in terms of how long, but I can tell you that this first one coming in a few days will not be the last one. It will be part of a larger, longer, sustained effort to increase the flow of humanitarian assistance. I want to make another point, and that's it's not just. You will see additional airdrops, but we're also, as the president said, working on whether there can be a maritime component to this. Is there a way to use shipping, maritime shipping, and to try to get aid in from the coast, as well as continuing our work to increase the flow on the ground. I mean, the trucks are really, although it's a dangerous way to get aid in, and tragically we saw that yesterday. It's also a very effective way of getting it in scale. Now you can do that through the maritime effort too, which is why we're going to do that.
Did the maritime option start being considered after the Gaza attack, or has that been?
That's been on the table before yesterday's attack. Yeah.
Thanks.